I have a question. Is it a double standard that women by and large can talk openly and honestly based on their truths and without limits about male behaviors and traits, but a man cannot openly and honestly based on his own experiences do the same thing without being a sexist or a woman hater or just totally out of order? Is it a double standard? Now, this is a topic that interests me as a literature major. It interests me as a literature major in college from as far back as the mid to late 90s, and that led me to write this dissertation trying to dismantle and reconstruct black feminist construction of black masculinity in their popular fiction. Now, it was critical for me because at the time, these women writers, Alice Walker in The Color Purple, Terry McMillan in Waiting to Exhale, Toni Morrison, Beloved, the men that were central to their fiction became the standard identity of what men, black men in particular at the time, were. And so whatever these women writers said, whatever images they created, whatever identities they constructed of black men to satisfy their commercial audiences, that was me too. I was one of them. Now, I found that during the same period, black male voices were very absent from his own construction. Usually these voices were drowned out, or we were told to shut up because we didn't know what we were talking about. Yeah, we were wrong. So everybody else, white men, white women, and at the time our very own women, were telling our stories. And it was always a single story. And there's this one African writer, Chimamanda Adichie. She talks about the dangers of a single story. And in it she said, well, you know what? I'll just put it right here. You can see what she says for yourself.
So that is how to create a single story. Show a people as one thing, as only one thing, over and over again, and that is what they become. It is impossible to talk about the single story without talking about power. How they are told, who tells them, when they are told, how many stories are told, are really dependent on power. Power is the ability not just to tell the story of another person, but to make it the definitive story of that person. The single story creates stereotypes. And the problem with stereotypes is not that they are untrue, but that they are incomplete. They make one story become the only story.
So what we usually got about the black male identity construction as a result of the popular black female writers who became the voices of the time, the more popular voices of the time, the images of the black male was usually always very dark, very negative, very dangerous, very destructive. And as a result of that, and well, not just that, but it was like black masculinity and just masculinity in general became a disease that society had to find a cure for. But Is it a double standard? Are we the only ones with issues? Well, is it a double standard that it's not a man's place to discuss or highlight in any form or fashion the behavior that he finds problematic with his contemporary modern female counterparts? Is it a double standard? Now, I was having this discussion with my sister last night. We were talking about a promo that I was putting together for the show. And as a part of the promo, I had several clips featuring Maori women in their You Are Not the Father, some of his You Are Not the Father shows. And, in showing it to my sister, she suggested that I may not want to do that because women will take what I was portraying offensively and they'll become very defensive. Well, let me show you a little bit about, let me show you a clip or two of what I was going to include.
In the case of 1-year-old Emil, Prince, you are not. When it comes to 2-year-old Jewels, Duck, you are not.
Oh, well, yeah, maybe I slept with more than one guy and got pregnant, but I gotta deal with that. I'm doing this for my son, because my son deserves the best. He deserves everything.
I'm E-Bone. I'm the second guy being tested for Jay's baby Jacory.
I'm E-Bone's brother, and I'm the third man being tested. And today, we're hoping that neither of us is the dad.
I'm Chris, and I'm the fourth man being tested for Jay's son, Jacory. When I spoke to Jay, she told me I might be the father. The problem? She didn't tell me 2 other guys could be a possibility.
If it's 1, 2, 3, if it's one of y'all.
In the case of 16-month-old Jacory, E-Bone, you are not.
I told
In the 16-month-old Jacory, D, you are not.
One more. You get out how you live. She get out how she live.
Straight up.
In the case of 16-month-old Jacory, Chris, you are not.
Yeah. And so she said, if you want to stir up controversy, then go ahead and put it out there. But, my thing is, it's not about controversy. It wasn't about controversy. It's not about offending or shaming women, but it was just to say, this is an issue. And I just want to discuss why. Why is there a double standard for the Maori men who are the fathers to be stigmatized and tarred and feathered and made to wear a scarlet letter D for deadbeat for the rest of their lives? But the Maori women who can't even tell you who the fathers of their children are, why are they allowed to sort of slink off into the light like nothing happened without us ever being able to discuss it openly and honestly? It's like nothing to see here. Go on, move on. Is that not a double standard? And not only is it a double standard, or could it be a double standard, but it's an issue. You see, Because in most of these instances, what we have are these mothers who grow up children who resent daddies and men based on a single story told by a mother who may have made some poor choices, but are not made to take responsibility for the choice, because they can put it off on the easier target, delinquent men or the delinquent man who impregnated her. And then we end up spending a considerable amount of time and money and resources on finding solutions for young male delinquent behaviors. But we don't spend the same sort of energy, effort, time, and resources in trying to find solutions to young female delinquent behaviors. Is that a double standard? You can't make it up. And I'm not trying to make it up. All we got to do is take a look around in our society. It's not just in the Bahamas where I live. It's in America where I lived. It's in Puerto Rico where I lived. It's in Africa, Caribbean diaspora. It's in our communities globally. And these issues impact on us, on men. You know, I'm not trying to be offensive. Like I started out several years ago, I'm just trying to find out why. Why? Is it okay, is it ever okay for men to have a say in whatever form or fashion on the behaviors and qualities of their female counterparts in the name of love and enlightenment and upliftment? If what we say is not always complimentary, and if what we say may not always be a compliment, is it a double standard? If we can't say it at all, ever, without it being perceived as sexist, as woman-hating, or totally out of order. We have an issue that we need to get to the bottom of. We need to have a discussion. And it's important to understand that men and boys' voices matter too. And what we say may not always be pretty. And like Beyonce says, and even if pretty hurts, is it a double standard? Just let me know.